We're having a very important conversation today with author and activist John Dayal. Thank you, sir, for speaking with us. And we're discussing the issue of the reservation list. We understand that the Indian government is now setting up a commission, a panel of sorts, to study the theme about the inclusion of Dalit Christians and Dalit Muslims in the reservation list. So far, we know that several petitions are pending before the Supreme Court to consider this. And moreover, this issue is also being discussed in the court. The next hearing is scheduled to take place on October 11th. On the 30th of August, this was discussed that the Indian government, which is represented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, that they will be submitting their report, they'll submit their findings while this commission is also in talks. So today we're trying to understand the long-term historical context in which this is placed and also the political significance of this discussion at this moment. Sir, if we would love for you to explain to us the context in which this is taking place. We understand that there was, in 1950, there is the article that we have which includes only Hindus, Sikhs and Buddhists into the reservation list. And for a long time now, there has been the demand to recognize the rights of Dalit Christians and Dalit Muslims as well. So how should we explain this? How should we understand this?
So there are two ways to look at it. For me, I think the most obnoxious thing is that this is one law which introduces religion and religious discrimination in the Constitution of India. When the Constitution was framed and implemented, every Dalit person had affirmative action. Anybody that abused him or beat him up was punished. The Dalit woman or Dalit man had reservations in parliament. That means political power was being given to him. They had reservation in schools and colleges, which means the education uplift was being made for them. And they had reservation in government jobs, which was employment, which was transient, people retire. But when this law came in 1950 as a presidential order, it was designed in a way to expel people who are Muslims and Christians, but whose ancestors were untouchables, who called themselves Dalits, from the privileges being given. In effect, it became an anti-conversion law. If you left Hinduism, you lost your scholarship, you lost your seat in parliament, you lost whatever action they were given, and if anybody were to beat you up, he would go scot-free. Whereas if you remained Hindu, which term later on to include Sikhs and Dalits, then you had all the privileges. So the constitution, which was neutral, which had every other thing, whose criminal law was neutral. You would be punished if you were a Hindu thief or if you were a Christian thief. If you were a Hindu murderer or a Muslim murderer, suddenly seemed to have two codes. One for Hindu Dalits, one for Christian and Muslim Dalits. But the problem with being an untouchable in this country, as Ambedkar knew and wrote so poignantly, is that untouchability and caste and purity is in the soil of the land. You go anywhere, the village is so divided that the Dalits live together. Whether they are Sikh Dalits or Hindu Dalits or Muslim Dalits or Christian Dalits, they will live in a small colony, and the upper castes, the Thakurs, the Brahmins, the rich, they will live everywhere. In between there will be problem. Many places in South India, particularly in North India, you can't even draw water from the common well. So caste is the reality of the land, and your religion doesn't matter. So 1950, when the presidential order came, which later became Article 341, Part 3, the Catholic Union, of which I've been a president in the past, we were the first ones to protest because this was discriminatory. This was reducing one of the best constitutions in the world to a ridiculous religion-based document. We protested. We went to court. The matter is, in fact, still in the court because once the Supreme Court dismissed it, we were not very well prepared, we had no data, and the Supreme Court saw that loophole and dismissed it. Now we have the data. Now we have the discrimination. Now we are living in a society which will not allow discrimination on the basis of skin color, on the basis of gender, on the basis of religion. And therefore, in this new environment, we are challenging this obscure law which says that affirmative action, police protection, legal protection must be on the basis of religion.
Absolutely. And if we were to understand the context now in 2022, there is also a reason to understand as to why the Indian government has constantly denied this or has denied access into that reservation list. What are the kind of fears you think have been from the government side and have served then as legal barriers to achieving this?
See, there is a political cultural fear that if we allow people to leave Hinduism and become Muslim and become Christian without making it punitive, everybody will leave, which is not a fact, which is not culturally will happen. People are strong in their own faith. A Hindu would rather be a Hindu than anything else. I quite go with that. Christian would be, but I have the right to change my religion. I'm a Christian today, tomorrow if I wish to become a Hindu, who is to stop me? If a Hindu wants to become a Christian, who is to stop him? To make it punitive is again to be discriminating against a particular religion or against two religions. So this is one of the issues. The second is a larger issue, that Christians are educated. They will compete in a reserved category and take all the jobs. It's a small cake and Hindu Dalits will suffer. It's again a falsehood because people compete in examination, the most brilliant of them compete. And the winner is not a fool because he's a Dalit. He is a very bright boy or a very bright girl who wins a competition in the UPSC through merit. You know, they also don't want to share political power. As it is, 15% reservation, 85 seats in parliament are with Dalits in Panchayati Raj and state assemblies. This would be another opportunity for making it not restricted by religion. Why should political power not be? So these are issues from their side. I'm not on their side. I don't know what goes on in their side. It could be bigotry, it could be fear, it could be a political constituency that has to be protected. But from my side, looking at it from the Christian point of view and from the Muslim point of view, why should there be religious discrimination in an issue of affirmative action? That is the main thing. Why should the constitution be polluted by introducing in it religious discrimination? Why should freedom of faith be denied to people? Why should it be made punitive that if you lose, if you become so and so, you will lose this privilege or the other privilege? It should be, it's a free country. We have all the same rights. Lastly, this new rule of the government, or this stand in the Supreme Court that will set up a commission. These commissions have been set up. Ranganathan Commission was set up by the government of India. It's the same government. Political parties have changed. Ranganathan Commission found religion crosses caste barrier. Caste crosses religion barrier. There's casteism practice in Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism, all religions in various degrees. So what is the problem? Professor Satish Deshpande, one of the world's experts on these issues, he studied the data again. He discovered that even progress, other data, economic data, etc., that those who are Dalits in other religions suffer the same infirmities as Hindu Dalits do. So two commissions, Buddha Singh Commission said it is so. Caste permeates religion. Caste crosses religious boundaries. If you want to give it to Christians and Muslims, expand the quota and give it to them. No commission so far, no expert so far has ever said, don't give it to the Dalit who is a Muslim, don't give it to the Dalit who is a Christian. You're already giving it to Sikh Dalits, you're already giving it to Buddhist Dalits. Unless you're saying that the religions where this exists just now, these religions come, they are still treating their Dalits as they were 3,000 years ago. That is not the case. It is not Hinduism's case that they are maltreating the Dalits. It is their case that after 3,000 years of sufferance, now you need this affirmative action for many more years, till 2 or 3 or 5 or more generations come up and then can compete equitably with everybody else. There's that haven of freedom is what we want to go, where everybody is equal, has had equal opportunity to rise, no criminal years anymore. Then nobody will seek reservation. We'll all be equal. Are we so at the moment? No. Till we reach that stage of superlatives, till then the struggle will continue. Government is doing this to buy time. but nothing else. It means nobody any good.
Yeah. And my final question to you is, how should we see this in the light of the conversion laws that are coming up in terms of the attacks on the communities in this political context?
India is slowly but surely becoming a country where there's going to be no freedom of religion. No freedom of religion unless you want to practice the religion of the government of India. Where now I am told that new constitutions are being prepared by religious groups where Christians and Muslims will not be allowed to vote. What has happened to the country in which I am born? This is not free India. This is a Hindu Rashtra. Are we going towards a Hindu Rashtra at full speed? India will collapse if freedom of faith, freedom of expression, human liberty collapses. It will not be worth living in if we don't have the freedom to be citizens of equal opportunity for everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us the time and your insights. Thank you for watching The Wire.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.